Hey guys, welcome back to our weekly live event. I'm Pascal Corcus, and I'm going to give it a minute. What's up, guys? Welcome back to our weekly live event. It's going to be the last live event for about 3 weeks. I'm going to the Bitcoin conference this weekend, and then I'm going to be in Belize, hanging out with Robert Kiyosaki, Ken McElroy, Peter Schiff, lots of big players. I'm actually super thankful. It's going to be really awesome. And obviously, I'm pretty excited, right? Because I read the book when I was 19, and a lot of great people are going to be there. So it's going to be a good time. So for everyone who doesn't know who I am, I'm Pascal Corcus. I have an accounting firm, an insurance agency, a mortgage company, property management company, and a real estate, construction company. So anything you guys would like to know about personal finance, real estate investing, I'm here to help, I'm here to answer your questions. And we do this live event every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and IG. Soon I'm probably going to do it on TikTok as well. So guys, I'm here to help. I'm happy to help. And how it goes, basically, those who ask to go live on IG get their questions answered first. Those who actually put a question in the question section on IG and YouTube get it answered second. And lastly, it'll go through the DMs that's scrolling through IG. So how's everybody's weekend been? I enjoyed the long weekend, had a great barbecue. It was a good time. And all right. What's up, Savage? Yeah, I'm having a great day. I just got one of my contracts we put in for a triplex, and right next door to a fourplex, I have a contract on. So now we're gonna have 7 units right next to each other. Non-conforming is 12 units, pool in the middle with a courtyard. It's gonna be really awesome. It's gonna generate some great money. So super excited. All right, guys, I see you guys are sending me a bunch of messages in the question section. Just make sure that you're putting the questions in the question section, right? In the little question, the circle, put it in there. This way I can, it'll be easier for me to read the question and to answer it. So a little bit about what I'm seeing in the market. I'm seeing in the market right now a lot of properties that are taken back by the banks and by the private lenders are slowly hitting the market. I was actually sent 5 properties, multi-units in different cities that are surrounding me, and they're available for me to purchase. And I'm seeing more of these deals. Now, what I am noticing and what I'm seeing, it's becoming very clear what's happening in the market. It's very similar to what we talked about last year, which is there's going to be a big bifurcation in the market, right? The high-end stuff, the really desirable areas are going to continue going up and continue appreciating, right? The lower end side of the market, rents are going to be harder to collect. You have collection problems. You're going to have evictions and foreclosures. You're going to have a bunch of these properties that are going to come available on the lower end side of the market. On the higher end of the market, I believe things are still going to be well. People that have money are going to continue to have money. They're going to do really currently doing great in the stock market. So they have a lot of cash, a lot of disposable income, and they're willing to spend money on renting areas that they want to be in and buying properties they want to buy. So if you're going to be investing for the time period now, make sure you're buying location. Because what's going to end up happening is if you don't, you're going to suffer through the downturn in the lower income neighborhoods and the rural areas. They're going to suffer where the better neighborhoods, the middle and upper middle class and up high class are not going to suffer. So be careful. If you're looking to buy in the lower income neighborhoods, I'd probably say wait, because you're going to have a lot of opportunities come for foreclosures in those areas. All right, let's got a lot of questions here. Okay, so Nano says, how does a forbearance work? Does going into forbearance, how does forbearance work? Does going into forbearance affect your credit? Will they allow you to back pay the money you owe? Is it advisable to use that money to reinvest in properties? So be very careful, because this is the thing. The forbearance is not allowed to affect your credit score. So forbearance is not allowed to affect your credit score. That does not mean it's not going to show up on your credit. Forbearances will not affect your credit score, but will show up on your credit report. It'll show that you're behind. So if you are going for a refinance, they're going to want to see you pay up all the money that you owe, or get into a plan with your bank and make at least 2 consecutive mortgage payments on time before they'll allow you to refinance. So if your plan is that use that money to buy more properties, the issue is you will not be allowed to buy another property until you have the first property with 2 consecutive payments made. They're not going to give you additional debt, because when you go in forbearance, you're basically telling the bank, I don't have the money. So be cautious, because initially a lot of people thought that would work. And as they saw that the banks did still disclose that no payment was made. So it's still going on your record that you didn't make a payment. It's just not affecting your credit score. So the thought process is it truly not affecting your credit if everybody knows you didn't pay? Well, it's still affecting your ability to get additional debt. So at the end of the day, it helped some, but didn't help all the way, right? But the point is, if you're looking for more debt, you need to make sure that the banks want to see that you can handle what you currently have before they give you more. All right. Next question from Neo is it true that people are exiting the forbearance program Is it true that people are exiting the forbearance programs and paying off their mortgage? The data shows that last year in June, over 4 million people were in forbearance. This year, only 2 million people are in forbearance. So that is correct. The data is correct. Now, when they're exiting the forbearance program, that doesn't mean they paid off their mortgage. That just means that they either, one, paid back the money that they owed, which is most of the people just paid back the 12 months that they held back, because what they found out was to add it to the end of the mortgage, there's additional fees that they're charging. And when they saw how much the fees were, they're like, forget it. I don't want all these fees. Let me just pay up all the money that I owe for the last 12 months and keep moving. So yes, a lot of people are paying back all the money they owe and catching up in 12 months. Now, the other part of it is that some people are just doing the forbearance program and adding it to the end of the mortgage and now are making their mortgage payments again. So there is now only 2 million people that are currently in forbearance. Now, those people can still choose to put some of the payments to the end. They can also choose to do a loan modification. So if these 2 million people are not able to repay and then not able to do the loan modification, a whole bunch of other things, it will take roughly 2 years for those homes to start hitting the market to be sold at the courthouse. The issue that's happening is that, at least in my county, which is a populated county, and it's pretty advanced, right? We have a good system in place. The issue with that is they still could only do roughly like 16 homes a day They can only foreclose on 16 homes a day. So the amount of properties, how long it will take to churn through all those foreclosures is still going to have a supply and demand issue. Because even though there's a huge supply of properties that are going to be able to hit the market later, it will take so long for that to happen. We're still going to have a supply and demand issue this year, and we're going to have a supply and demand issue next year. So if you're going to ask me, Pascal, in 3 years, do you see the market tanking? No, I see the market stabilizing, not really going up or down because of the volume of real estate. The volume of real estate transactions are still going to be at a 2 or 3 month level, not much inventory out there. But when we have that issue, we're not going to see a crazy amount of transaction because there's going to be a whole bunch of properties in foreclosure that have not hit the market yet. Now, if you ask me in 5 years, do you see the market possibly going down? At that point, there is more likely a chance of the market going down because of how long it's taking for these foreclosures to hit the market and how long people are waiting to sell their homes because they don't want to leave because of COVID. Where I see the big problem happening, where I see us having the issue where the real estate market tanks, is if lending gets frozen again. That is what crashed the 2008 market. It wasn't just that all these foreclosures hit. It's foreclosures hit and people didn't have the ability to get loans because the banking system was crashing. So lots of supply and the inability to get loans reduced the amount of available buyers. So 33% of all the real estate in the country is purchased with cash. The other 67% is purchased with a combination of cash and debt. So if we eliminated 2/3 of the buyers, there's a lot less people able to buy. So as long as the country is able to keep the banking sector functioning, we will still have enough people buying to live. Because overall in this country, we still have a housing problem. And the problem is there's not enough housing for people. And every year, 3% of our housing inventory becomes uninhabitable. So there's still a supply and demand issue. So I say if you're looking to buy in a great area, and make sure you buy, remodel, rent, refinance, and get it all done in 2 years, and you're still going to be good. So I'm still buying deals. I have a $900,000 fourplex under contract. I have a $750,000 triplex right next door under contract. We're planning on doing about a $500,000 renovation on these properties, and making them beautiful. So again, if you're going to be buying a great area, you'll be okay. All right, let's see. Bit Bunny wants to go live. Let's see what he asked. What question he asked for us. Sales says, are tax refunds lower than expected due to stimulus payments? No, they're about the same. Hey, what's up, Big Bunny? Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? Thanks for dribbling out hoop. I appreciate it. So Bit Bunny is a little lagging. Let's answer some questions here on YouTube. Oscar says, hey, Pascal, how difficult is it to convert a duplex into a fourplex if the zoning is 2 to 8 units? It is usually a minimum of a 6-month process because you're going to have to go through zoning, and you have to go through, make sure that you have the proper setbacks and all these other things. Is it doable? Yes, but it is going to be roughly a 6-month process for the documentation, and then the construction side of things is not that hard once it's allowed. What I have done is actually split units into A and B. So if say it's a 3-bed, 2-bath house, what I've done is put double doors for the master bedroom, so it's closed off from the rest of the house, and then rented out as a 2-1 plus a 1-1, and then have them almost be like a roommate. So that's what I've done also to avoid having to go to city to, again, actually separate to 2 separate units. Now, the benefit of getting it separated is, one, it's on the property appraiser, so you can sell it as a 4-plex compared to a duplex, and you would have 4 separate meters and you could get 4 separate water bills. So then you can totally separate it out and have the tenants pay everything themselves. Now, in the situation where I'm doing it, where I'm having, say, a duplex, but I'm splitting each unit in half and I'm renting them out almost like roommates, I get 1 electric bill for the units. I pay the electric, and then I have to, charge the tenants for electric and for cable and water and so on. So for me, it's not a big deal to do that because I'm already having some of the units as Airbnbs, and I'm paying the electric and water and internet anyway. So it still works well. So let's try to see if I can add Bunny back on. All right, Ronald says, what's good, Pascal? God is good, so everything's good. Ronald says, getting ready to refi with you. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to it as well. Once we get your refi done, we'll be able to get you that cash and be able to help you get the next deal. So as you guys know, I have a mortgage company, so I help people do refinances, purchases. I have an accounting firm and tax practice, so we do corporate and individual taxes. We also do insurance in Florida, so home, auto, commercial, general liability, all that good stuff. Remember, guys, I'm getting a lot of questions in the DM section. There are too many to read, so please throw the question in the question section so I can be able to get all your questions answered. All right. Cryptocurrency will be the cause of the next financial collapse if it rises to trillions. Well, we cannot blame cryptocurrency, right? Cryptocurrency does not, so guys, all issues stem from people, right? It's not a tool. Like when people say a gun killed a person, a gun never killed a person. It was another person that killed a person, and they happened to use a gun or they happened to use a knife, right? So cryptocurrency isn't going to create the next financial crash. People in bad financial management will cause another crash. So do I think that will happen? I don't think cryptocurrency will be the cause. I think the financial system where we're printing a crazy amount of money, leveraging it out like crazy. What's up, buddy? And not spending money right is going to cause a crash. So thanks for joining us.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I got a question. I got an update for you.
Okay.
I just got a loan from the bank. Probably like $150,000 loan from the bank to do a mortgage, 30-year-old occupied fixed mortgage loan.
Okay. So you got a 30-year conventional loan for a property. Very good.
Yeah, 30 years. So I'm trying to figure out. I got 3 months. I got to wait for my money to season in my account.
Yep.
Money for the down payment.
Yep.
And now I'm trying to figure out next what should I do.
Okay. So for everyone that doesn't know what he means by seasoning, if you have money that is not in the bank, not in the stock market, not in a big financial institution, and you put that cash into the bank, it needs to sit in your account for at least 2 months, if not 3 months, for them to even be willing to touch it. And that's called seasoning. So if you're planning on making a move and you have $100,000 in your business account, move that to your personal account, because it's going to take at least 2 months before the bank's willing to even consider that money. And that's correct. Even if you have the money in your business account, they will not use that money towards your down payment. It needs to be in your personal account, and it needs to at least be there for 2 months. So your question is, what should you do or what move should you make?
Yeah.
So
What should I do? Like for me, what should be the next move?
Okay, so when I was 19, I bought a property for $142,000, and that was a duplex. There was 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom each side, concrete block, really basic, but it was in a decent part of town. It was like lower middle class, but it was in a good part of town where there's a lot of renters out there. There's hospitals around. It was good area overall. I put down $28,000. I put down 20% down because I wanted to be conservative. And I lived on one side and I rented out the other side. And I fixed it up.
Okay.
After I was done, I got a home equity line of credit, took my cash out, and 1 year later, bought another duplex. Did it again.
Okay. All right. No, because I just want to know because I'm kind of doing that right now, so I'm just waiting. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next with it. I don't want to make any dumb mistakes.
And the best decision, the best use of your time is going to be studying your market. What you need to do is figure out where is a good area I can buy for this money. The best area I can buy for this money. Because location, even though everyone knows I love more units, I love 4 plexes more than duplexes. But
yes.
Like I was telling the guy I was having a consultation call this morning with, and I told him, it's better for you to be within a duplex in a good area than with a 4-plex in a bad area. Because when the times get tough, and times always get tough, our economy is a cycle. So when it gets tough, the good area is going to be more likely to pay you. People don't normally go, it's rare that someone goes broke because their property lost equity.
Did you find a fixer up or something, or you found a home that's already fixed up?
I found a property that was in renting condition, that was still in rentable condition, but you could use some upgrades. So I was rented right away and I could continue renting it. But then what I did is I put tile throughout to make sure it's easy to clean and maintain, and if tenants beat it up, it's easy to just clean up and rent to the next person. I painted the outside, painted the inside, added some curb appeal, and I spent little money here and there to make it better. And so I could increase the rent. Because the more you can increase the rent, the more your property value goes up.
Okay. I see what you're going here. So that's all I got. That's the only questions I got.
So the best thing you can do is study your market. Find out where you could buy something and what it's worth in a good condition and what's it worth in a fixer-upper condition, right? The value.
Yeah.
And as long as you know that, then you'll make sure you're gonna buy right. If you don't know what something's worth, then you can overpay.
Yes. I'm talking to a realtor right now, and I'm talking to look, because the bank wants to see a realtor.
Yeah.
The loans or whatever. And, I told, look, send me, I want to, it could be in upcoming neighborhoods, because around here in Philadelphia, there's a lot of upcoming neighborhoods around. So, I told her to send me some of those.
So one of the things, so here's two tips I'm going to give you. You want to buy on the line or on the right next to the line. What that means is, say there's a really good area, and that really good area is very expensive. But if you buy on the other side of the line, there's an imaginary line where it goes from really nice to questionable.
Yeah.
You don't want to be deep in the questionable neighborhood. You want to be on the line where you're like, okay, I'm only 1 or 2 streets away from this good area, but it's still not the good area. Because what happens is each street gets remodeled, and now these houses become very expensive. Then they go to the next street and they start remodeling them. Then these houses get expensive. So you want to be on that line. So,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because I've seen some properties. I don't know if you know those type of houses they make in the city now, they're like town row homes, but they're real nice. They're more modern.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of those houses that I've been looking at the realtor sent me. They're like around the corner. So, I'm thinking like, since they made that around the corner, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do even more.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure like the house is gonna go up the valley.
Yep. And that's basically a lot of the deals I buy is like I'm right by that line, so I'm not paying the crazy expensive price, but I'm soon enough everyone's gonna start upgrading the properties around me, so my property value is gonna go up because everybody else is adding value to the neighborhood. And the other thing is I would try to buy in a downtown market. So the closer you are to a downtown market, normally the better you're going to do on a secondary and tertiary market.
Like off the market, or you talking about like off the market?
No. Downtown market meaning like say not downtown Philly, but if there's like another really happening city around, then you want to go to that downtown market.
There's something that's called Brewery Town. It's Brewery Town, so it's like that's becoming more, more popular.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna check that out. I got 3 months to figure it out.
And that's what you want to do because the thing is, this is not like, cryptocurrency where you can buy, $100 at a time or $1,000 at a time.
Yeah.
This is I made one shot and I might not be able to make another move for 2 to 5 years. So their shot has to be really like a sniper. You got to be so on point, because if you make a great point, you can kill it and you'd be doing awesome. And then in a year you can buy another property. But if you don't, you could put yourself in a position that you might not be able to buy another property for 5 years, which is not a horrible position. But the point is, hey, if you can do what if you can pull a great move and kill it, then that's awesome.
So, and it's just like, once I get my first home, right? Once I get my first investment property, and I have a tenant there, but I'm already owing the money. I'm owing the money from the bank, but my tenant's gonna pay for it. So what should I do to get my next property?
So the goal is to buy like a duplex, right? Two tenants. So you live in one side and then there's a tenant there. Then as you fix the property up, you can live in like you can rent out the one that's the nicer one. And then you can fix up the one that you're in. Now they're both nice. So once you are renting it, you're going to put that on your tax return. So now not only is the income you're making from your job counting towards your ability to pay, which is how they're going to determine how much money they're willing to loan you, you're also getting one rental, and then you're going to get a lease for the unit you're in. So someone's going to rent it to you or rent it from you once you move out. So then you're going to show the bank, look, I got this one rental that's currently in there. I got another person that wants to rent it to me once I move out. So I'm going to take the income I'm making from my job, and you're going to add the 2 rental property income to my ability to pay. So now I'm making a lot more money. Give me a loan for another duplex. And when I buy that other duplex, it's going to have a tenant in there, and I'm just going to move in next door. So now I'm going to have 3 tenants paying rent and my job. So now I have all this money coming in, so it's going to be easy for me to afford a second property.
Okay.
And basically it just continues to grow.
Because what I was thinking was just put the whole payments that the tenants are giving me to the mortgage.
Don't do that.
Just,
No. That's theoretically that's like a 1980s, 1970s thinking that will not help you long term. And just think about it. If you had $100,000, right? Let's just make believe you had $100,000 cash.
Yes.
And someone said, hey, I'm going to give you 3% for your money. Would you invest with them?
No.
Okay.
What you said again, my bad.
Okay. If you had $100,000 in cash,
okay,
and someone said, I'm going to give you 3% on your money, that's your return on investment. Would you want to do that deal?
Yeah, because I'm getting a return, right? I'm getting some money back.
You're getting something, right? But 3%
Yeah.
is nothing. That's inflation right now.
Yeah.
If you put your money in the stock market, you could get at least 7% on average. So why would you take 3 when you could just put that money in the stock market and get 7?
Yeah, you're right.
So, and then the people that invest with me make at minimum 15%. So why would you take 3 when you could get 500% more return on investment by investing with Pascal and making 15%?
Yeah.
The point is, when you pay down your mortgage, all you're getting is you're saving 3%. That's all you're saving. Now, not only that, it's locked up in the jail that is your home equity. Your home equity is a jail. Because if the market tanks, how are you going to get that money out? If you lose your job, is anyone going to give you a loan to take the equity out of your house?
Yeah.
No. Nobody. So what's going to end up happening, you're going to end up being house rich, cash poor, and then you're going to end up losing your property. So you need to have that cash sitting on the side for your next deal. Because your next deal should be making you at least 15% internal rate of return between the rental income and the appreciation of the property.
Okay, so that extra little bit of income that I'm getting from that property is for the next property.
Or it's for building up your reserves to cover your roof, your water heater, whatever AC units that break. Because AC unit breaks, you're looking at $5,000 easy. If it's a big unit, you're looking at $8,000. If a roof goes, you're looking at $15,000. So you're gonna be like, oh, I got all this money, and what did I get? Maybe an extra $6,000 that year, right? Because based off of how much money you're looking to invest, you're probably only gonna make probably like $400 to $500 a month in profit. So you're gonna get an extra, say, $5,000 a year. Well, that $5,000, one AC unit goes, boom, that's gone. So you don't want to just throw the money in it and then you're like, oh shit, I need the money, so now I'm gonna put on my credit card. What does the credit card cost you? 15% interest? And you're gonna be like, damn, I'm paying 15% interest because I went and tried to pay down a 3% interest loan.
Definitely right about that.
Yeah. So again, don't ever, the thing is, if you think I got too much cash on me, you ain't never got too much cash on you. Because something always comes up. So,
About a car.
Huh?
You think you bought a car, you think you bought a good car, and next thing you know, like a couple weeks later, there's something wrong with the car. Next thing you know, there's something else.
Yep, something else. And that's why the key is this. The next point is this for you guys that are a little bit ahead, a little bit more on the advanced level, that have already been in the game for a little bit. You have to think this. I'm going to do as many remodel projects as I can do at that project right away. Because what happens is if you put in, let's just say you put in this $150,000 property, you put $50,000 in. Not $5,000 each year, but $50,000 one shot day one, right? What you did is you made such a significant change to the property. If you did your homework, that $50,000 should make the property worth $250,000.
Yeah.
And at that point, you can go to the bank and say, look, my home is worth $250,000. I bought it for $150,000. I put in $50,000. I would like to do a cash out refi. Give me a $200,000 loan. Let's pay off the first mortgage. Give me back the $50,000 that I invested in this property. And the bank, hey, you still have $50,000 of equity because it's worth $250,000, and I'm only asking for a $200,000 loan. So I'm being conservative here. You got $200,000. You got 20% of an equity. You got $50,000 there.
Yes.
So now you have no money in that deal. It's called a BRRRR strategy. And in addition to that, if every year you made $5,000 and every year you spent $5,000 to upgrade, you have zero cash flow benefit. You got appreciation, you got value add, but actual cash flow, you don't have any. But if you do all of that day one, year one, you do all of that work and you do the cash out refi, you now have all the money back in your pocket. You get the full benefit now, and you can get the additional rent, And $50,000 in a mortgage payment is only $200 a month. So what's that? I'd rather pay $200 a month than for me to not have any cash in my bank account and lose that property.
Yeah. I understand. Man, this spoke my mind. I needed it because it's just like, man, I'm like, look, I got this loan. What should I do next? And I'm just like, I have somebody guide me, telling me steps by steps, but I just want something. I want something like in my mind, like a refresher. You know what I'm saying? You just gave me that.
So I got two last points for you. One, you need to know more than the realtor.
Yeah.
You cannot count on the realtor. No offense to the good realtors out there, but 99.9% don't know anything. Most of them, 99%, are not real estate investors. They don't own rental property. So you can't expect them to understand what I'm teaching you.
Yeah, I understand that because I kind of realized that because I have a realtor, and she's sending me properties that's like totally like damaged. I'm like, what type of properties are you sending me? Some of these properties, like it's down, like deep in the ghetto, like in the trenches, and I'm like, I do not want these properties, and you just keep on sending me these type of properties.
Now, there's two things that could be happening there. So one, maybe you don't have anything in your budget, but based off of being in Philly, and I know someone else in Philly looking at deals, you should be able to find something decent for $150.
Yeah.
Not great, but decent. You shouldn't be in the trenches for $150. And two, don't overdo it on a reno, because if you're new to this and you don't have construction experience and you don't have connections that are very good at renos, you don't want to get in too deep and like drown, right? Like you want to kind of like doggy paddle before you go in hard.
Yeah.
And then second point is this: you're about to make $150,000 bet, right? It's like you're going to the casino and you're saying, here's $150,000 that's not even mine, that I went and borrowed, and I'm betting that I'm going to win. So before you make a bet like that, and if you're not comfortable yet, you really need to take my course. It's like, I think it's still on sale. It's like $390, and it's like 7 hours of information with stuff that you didn't even know to ask. Like there's stuff that you're like, I didn't even know that I should even ask this. That's in there. You really need to take it, because if you're betting $150,000, you need to invest in yourself to make sure you're like, oh wow, this is something I didn't even know, and I'm so happy I didn't fall in this hole, because it would have taken me forever to get out of it. Because if you make a bad financial move, it could take 5 to 10 years to fix your credit or fix your taxes or fix the problem. So it's better to invest in not make the problem, and you'll be a lot better.
Okay, definitely. I'm gonna look at it.
All right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm here for you. Have a great night.
So,
Fredo says, life lessons with Professor Pascal. This is what needs to be taught in schools. The issue is, guys, let's be real. Most teachers don't have any money. Most teachers don't understand investing. Their whole thought process isn't there. And who's going to teach it, right? Like, I wanted to be a teacher for a while, but I'm like, I don't even have any time. So instead of doing that, I'm teaching you guys here. You're my students. I tell my kids when I put them to bed, I said, you guys need to be quiet. I'm about to go teach my class. So for me, this is class. Now, this is not a middle school or high school class. This is like a college class. And just like in a college class, you guys need to have taken my course or watched my YouTube videos and absorb the information. And when you come to class, you need to come and ask questions about the course material. Now, I can't be teaching you guys ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s. You guys need to have spent the time, taken the course, watched the YouTube videos, gather that information, and then come to me and say, look, you said this. How does it apply to me? Or how could I functionally use this information? Then I can give you a real answer. So the guy actually did something good. He said, look, I got pre-approved. I have this much money. What should I do next? Awesome. I can help you. You need to study your market. You need to know if you're going to spend this money, where should I spend this money? Where am I going to get the best return for this money? If I put this money out there, when I plant this tree, what's going to grow? Where can I put my money so it can grow and bring me back more money? So, Rachel the writer says, the way you speak mathematically sounds so poetic. So I love math, actually, to be honest with you. I really love it. In high school, I left the summer after high school. I was taking college classes. I was taking Calculus 3, Physics 2, Physics 2 Lab, and differential equations all in the same semester. Crazy. It was a 10-week semester, so it was like a crazy amount of work, but I love math, and it was a lot of fun. All right, let's see. So Ronald on YouTube says, can an incomplete renovation affect your appraisal during refinancing? My new kitchen only needs the range hood installed and the backsplash behind it. So I would probably try to put up the backsplash, and the range hood is not a big deal, but try to at least put up the backsplash because, yes, you want to wow the person. You want to wow the appraiser. Smart people are bald. Nerd alert. Actually, yeah, most people can't tell because they're like, oh, you work out, you're a power lifter. But big nerd. I was into anime before it was popular. Yeah. And, I don't know. I like math. So now, what's up, brother? So now's a boss. He's doing really well for himself right now. All right. Got a question here from S2K. It says, can I buy a property without putting down 20% and have no PMI? There is scenarios where you can buy a property and still get a conventional loan without PMI. But what ends up happening is you still end up paying. What ends up happening is you pay a higher interest rate. Normally, it's a higher interest rate. Sometimes you can get around with putting down 5 or 10% and avoiding PMI. Sometimes it's possible. Having PMI doesn't always matter because in some scenarios, banks will actually give you a better interest rate when you put less money down and you have a PMI. So your payments could actually be better in a PMI scenario. It just depends. You have to run the scenario, you have to run the calculations and see what the answer comes to. So when I'm running my information and I'm doing all this information, guys, when my financial firm is at different areas, insurance, taxes, mortgages, when we're doing the analysis and determining what is the best scenario for our clients, I'm running numbers. I'm running calculations to see what's going to work out best. I'm running calculations on individuals' tax returns and future projections to see, okay, based off of this current tax return and these future projections off of the data I'm being provided, where can we have this client and when can we get them to this goal? So I'm meeting with people that have no properties and they want to get to 10 properties in the next 5 years. I'm meeting people that have currently 65 properties and they want to get to 150. And based off of my calculations, I'm like, you could probably get to 300 in the next 5 years if you execute this plan accurately, right? I can tell you what to do, but I can't make you do it. I can give you the workout plan and I can give you the diet, but I can't make you go to the gym and I can't make you eat the right food. But I can give it to you and say, this is what's going to win because so many people did the same exact thing and they're winning. So yeah, data, run your numbers, and at that point you'll have a good outline of what to do and how to get to the finish line. All right, trying to add guys back in. how long before impacts on 1031 exchange and capital gains take effect and what thresholds? So they're thinking about doing away with a 1031 exchange or capping at $500,000. So, is it actually finished yet? It's not done yet. We don't really know what's going to happen. If that does happen, then, we just got to make sure that we're readjusting the type of properties we're buying, right? So if the 1031 exchange is limited to $500,000 per property, that's working really well for my strategy because the properties I'm buying are around, 500 to $1 million. So it's going to work out. So you basically want to flip out of a property before you hit, more than $500,000 in value. So the other part of it is regarding capital gains. The capital gains being turned to basically earned income levels and raising the bracket on people that make over $1 million. Well, then you have to make sure that you have a great depreciation model and tax strategy to make sure that your income stays below that figure. If you sell a property and now you have a huge taxable gain, you got to make sure that you're making the right moves with, you have to make the right move and buy and sell at the same time. So you're going to sell this property, have a big taxable gain, buy another property, do a cost segregation model, have these write-offs to counteract these gains. So simply put, if you made $500,000 here, but you buy a property and you can get a cost segregation model to show you have a $500,000 loss, a paper loss, it will wash the tax and you won't have to pay any tax. And that's why Trump, only paid $750 legally, because there is 99.5% of the tax code, 99.5% of the tax code is about deductions and credits. 5% is about the money you owe. So even though they might increase the taxes, if there's all these credits available, you can find a different way to invest to get these credits. Like another fund that I'm working on creating is a green fund. And with this green investment fund, if it's accomplished the way I would like to accomplish it, for every, say, $100,000 you invest, you get a $300,000 tax write-off. Well, obviously, that's not a lot of tax problems. So, it's always a solution to any problem. Trying to add you guys, but for some reason it's not really working. You guys are funny in the DMs. Do you prefer commercial loans? Do you prefer commercial loans for 2 to 4 unit properties, and what are the pros and cons? So with commercial loans, they're easier to get usually if you have a good relationship with the bank. But if you're doing a conventional loan, you get a 30-year AM compared to a commercial loan. Normally it's only 20 to 25-year AM. So the payments are higher. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Hey, great, Pascal. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm close to following you, and I'm learning so much. Thank you very much for your content and everything, for sharing your knowledge.
You're welcome. I'm here to help.
Thank you. So I have 2 questions actually. One of them is like tax side. We are fixing and flipping properties, and we sold one of them in Tampa, and we are living in Jackson, by the way. So we sold that one in $250. And do we need to do the 1031 exchange to not to pay capital gain tax? Because in any ways we're gonna buy another property. So is it really required if we buy something like 250 or more any property and don't do 1031 exchange?
So you sold the property for $250,000. They're going to subtract off all the costs and all the fees. It's only the profit that you would pay tax on. So let's just say out of the $250,000, you maybe made $50,000 profit. So the tax would be on $50,000. If you had it in your individual name, you're going to have it as probably as a Schedule C, and it's going to be the highest tax bracket, unless your accountant's going to have it as a Schedule E. But the reality is you should probably have an LLC and file as an 1120S. If you're an LLC and file as an 1120S, then you're going to have probably going to be in like the 15% tax bracket on that money. If you're buying another property and you have other expenses from your company, some of those expenses from the company can reduce the amount of money you owe on this property. Now, the issue that you run into is that if you write down so much of your income in a not an optimal way, what will end up happening is no one's going to be willing to give you more loans because it's going to constantly look like you're not making money and you're going to be in a bad situation. So to reduce the amount of taxes you owe, you should be filing an 1120S LLC tax return. Again, I'm not giving you tax advice because I didn't review your whole thing, but generally speaking, that's how I handle it. Now, generally speaking as well, again, I'll have to do a financial review and review your taxes to accurately give you, the right information. But generally speaking, also, the IRS does not allow flips to be 1031 exchanged. Now, if you were, yeah, because that's a business. That's not that the logic of a 1031 exchange is that you are buying a property, fixing it up, renting out, and I'm planning to keep it long term. Now, if something comes up and you're like, well, it didn't end up happening, my idea was I was going to keep it long term, that was my goal, my plan, but it didn't happen. So I sold it and ended up buying this other property. You're still able to 1031 exchange it, but if they see you doing it again and again and again and again, they're like, wait, this guy has a business and he's just avoiding taxes. That's not allowable by the IRS. So, but it is doable.
I understand. So we just
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, please. It was actually my partner's name, and after he sell the property, he's gonna just buy one property for his name. That's it, because we are doing everything on our company, and we were actually thinking like, because he bought the property for $25,000 and he spent like $20,000, and he sold the property for $250,000 because there was too much increase, and big profit over there.
Yes.
And like 150,000 or something. So that's why we were thinking like, if he sell the property, okay, there's a profit like 150. Is it like due at that time, or if he buys another property on his name and he can deduct that money without 1031 exchange?
So technically, the answer is no. He cannot just write. So you can't have $150,000 profit and then buy $150,000 property and say, oh, I'm writing that all off against this. If you get audited, the answer is no. They would not allow that, because what you're basically doing, your business is flipping properties. So when you buy a $150,000 property, that is just inventory. It's still there. So it's inventory. So you can't expense it. So it's just like if you bought $100,000 worth of clothes, you can't write them off until you sell them. And then you sell them for $100 for the shirt, but it costs you $30 for the shirt. Then you can write off the $30 when you sell it for $100, because it's just inventory on your shelf. So you can't really write it off. You can do some depreciation and you can have expenses to your business. Now, if he went, so normally what I would do is I have people that make this type of profit and have an history, probably buy a property for $600,000, $700,000, put the $150 as a down payment, rent out that property, and we would get an engineer to do a cost segregation model so we can get a write-off of $150,000 as a depreciation, and that money would write off from the gain he made from the real estate investment.
I understand. So we have to get a higher value property and then use the depreciation method.
Yes. Now, again, this is the idea. If your accountant does not understand this, because not every accountant's going to understand it, because it's not their specialty. But if it is their specialty and they do understand it, they'll be able to understand that, being an active real estate professional, you can write off the loss on one property against the gain from another property. But normally you have to get bigger deals, right? To get enough write-offs for it to count. So in this scenario, 1031 exchange, if it's already sold, you can't do a 1031 exchange because you have to elect the exchange prior to the sale. So, is it already sold?
Yeah, it's just sold actually like last week, and they transferred the money, and we didn't do the 1031 exchange. He actually deposited $1,000 for 1031 company, and then he told one guy, and he got the advice, and even he wasn't a CPA, and then he said like, okay, you can buy another property and deduct that one, and I told him that we have to ask a professional, not the guy.
I bought a $300,000 property and I put $200,000 into it. I can't write off $500,000 against my profit because it's inventory. Now it's just inventory. So now I have multiple properties that I'm flipping. Each one is part of my inventory that's on a shelf. So I have $500,000 into this property. And when I sell it for $1 million, I can write off $500,000 of the purchase and the rental, and then any other expenses that were involved. But yeah, you can't just write it off like that. There is a lot of strategies out there, but that is not. If he gets audited, it would be declined. It wouldn't be allowed.
I have one more question. Can I ask?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's actually very complicated for me, and it's like higher level for me, and okay. I cannot get it. So there are some foreign investors, and they want to invest real estate in the United States, and they want to do it over me, like a syndication method. Mm-hmm. So and they're open for everything, and they're not very educated investors about real estate. They just want to hold too much cash in the bank accounts because it's gonna be taxed every year. So they just want to invest somewhere and get a cash flow. And they're really open for anything. And I want to help them, but I really don't know how to do the setup. Like, we have already a company, but should I open another LLC and get a big apartment complex? It's actually like a $2-3 million, between $2-3 million.
Yeah.
So maybe 20, 30 units apartment, and give them an equity. So 20. It's hard to find.
It's hard to find a good area in Florida to get 20 or 30 minutes for $2 million. Like in not a good area, it costs $100,000 a door. So be careful, right? Be careful with that. 2, to do a syndication, it costs a lawyer at minimum around $20,000 to have a lawyer do it, if not more. 2, you have foreign investors, so you have to set up your companies properly. 3, you got to be careful on how you bring the money over so you don't get in trouble with the government. So there's a lot of moving parts to it. Right. So if you're going to set up a syndication, you have to. And 2, if you're going to get a loan, the bank is going to want to see you have a long track record, a long history. So this is a advanced strategy you're asking to do. It's doable. It's just an advanced strategy, and it's not going to be something that we're going to be able to answer in 5 minutes. But so you definitely need to set up a private call with me so we can go over more details. But simply put, you're going to have to 1, get a syndication lawyer. That's going to help you with that part. Then you're going to have a structure in your entity. Then you're going to have a special accountant for them to go to because they're going to be foreign investors, so they have to special tax return. Then you're going to have to have a lawyer help them get, documentation so they can file tax returns. And then you're going to have to put all that into your investment. So there's a lot of moving parts. And then lastly, you're going to have to find a deal, and you have to be able to find a way to get it funded, being that you don't have a history for the bank to say, yes, I'm willing to do this,
And actually, I was thinking, because we're not going to get the loan in the beginning, so they're also okay with if we pay cash, everything, if the property is $3 million, they're willing to pay $3 million. Just, they just want to invest somewhere. And as you said, it's not a couple of minutes answer, but I was just thinking is this equity we give over the property, or we give equity over the LLC to the investors?
So what normally happens in my syndications is that the investors own all of the property, which is owned by an LLC. So the LLC 123 company owns the property, and the investors own all the interest in 123 company. So they get basically all of the profit. So out of that, I have a property management company. So my property management company manages the property, and then as a syndicator, you get a fee for managing the asset. And your big money comes from when you refinance the property or sell the property in 5 to 10 years. So most people don't do syndications because they don't really make much money until years later. So a lot of people have a job and have other income coming in, and they're just saying, you know what, in 5 to 10 years, I'm going to make a lot of money. But most people are not able to do syndications in the beginning. They have to normally partner with somebody that has a track record. And then after they do 2 or 3 deals with them, they can use that record to add to their record. So now they're like, oh, look, I did these 3 or 5 deals with Pascal, and all of them turned out well. So now it's 5 years later, look, bank, now give me this loan because I did it with him and I have this track record. So that's, that part of it,
Okay.
But you still have to have a relationship, even if you try to refinance later, you still have to have a relationship to the bank because you're going to be bringing them a lot of foreign investors, and that's very risky for the bank. So, you have to definitely have very good documentation.
Isn't the trust account in the bank that they invest the money there? And isn't going to be under the bank's control? Because
what part?
we're going to open it. For example, if we are asking 75% LTV, right, from the bank, and we're going to put that 25% of the property price into the bank's checking account, and then we're going to ask the same bank, can you give us the 75% of the loan, 75% of the LTV, and then this is the money in your bank, and can you give us the loan? Isn't that easy? I don't know.
No, because the number one reason a person fails as a multi-family owner, even though it has the lowest default rates, if there's a 20-unit plus building, it has some of the lowest defaulting rates of all real estate out there. And the number one reason why people default is the track record of the actual manager. So they want to make sure that someone has a great track record. And then 2, they have some type of skin in the game. They have other assets. They have other stuff that they can count on. Because just because you bought a $3 million property, you put that $1 million down, you look at it as they have $1 million equity in the property. They don't look at it like that. They look at it as they have a $2 million debt, and that debt is their asset. For you, the building is your asset. For them, it's not. The loan is their asset, and their asset is only as good as the person that guarantees the loan. So if you don't have a great record to guarantee it, they're not going to be comfortable. The other people you can get a loan from is called agency debt. Agency debt's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. They will not even look at you without having a long track record and a bunch of money. You have to have a bunch of wealth, basically, for them to even consider you. So to get to that level, you have to have some partner that has a track record, you know, and they have to be basically the general partner, the GP. And they're basically saying, I'm gonna make sure this is a good deal. And if it's not a good deal, it's on my head. You know.
I understand.
Yeah.
Like,
So
the guarantor.
Huh? You would a guarantor, but it's you would possibly you'd also be the guarantor. But the thing is, they want a guarantor that actually has a weight to them. You know, that they say like, okay, I saw all these deals, right? Like, you know, so you get what you understand what I'm saying. You get what I'm going at.
Right. So I'm really open. I mean, everything. I just want to help them, and I'm really open for any partnership, any deal. So would you be willing to do any help in this kind of deal together?
Yes. Like I told everybody, anyone that can find me a good deal, I'm more than willing to invest with them. I'm big on location is the biggest thing for me. So I'm open to working with other people. I have other investors, and the point is, the big thing is location. So if it's not in a good location, or if I interview the person I'm investing with, and for some reason doesn't feel like it's a right fit, I won't do it. But if it's a right location property and it's a right fit relationship, then, you know, everything lines up good, then it's meant to be. Then let's make it happen.
Okay.
So we can continue to communicate offline, and we can take it from there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the location, by the way, is I'm really open anywhere in the US, you know, and we're in Jacksonville, but I don't like the Jacksonville area and so much because it's there are, I mean, some good spots, good areas, but not everywhere. So Tampa and Miami and those places are actually I like more. And
Yeah.
I'm open for everything, and investors are open for everything, you know.
Basically, everything I'm doing right now is in Tampa, the Tampa Bay market, right? It's not just Tampa Bay city, but Tampa Bay the market, which is 3 counties. Because one, I have a construction crew, I have GCs, I have AC guys, I have all these people that I already have here that if something happens, I can say, go there, take care of this, let's get this finished. And I have a property management company, so I can make sure that, because with property management as well, if you don't have a good company, it's not being rented. So, you know, so, you know, definitely there's options out there. And lastly, if they're buying cash, you know, there might be some distressed office buildings, there might be some distressed plazas that don't have a great occupancy level that they could buy. Since it's only 50% occupied, they could buy it and pay cash for it and be able to do that type of deal that other people can't. There was a property that came up, it was 40 units, 20 duplexes in this low income area. And they were selling them for like $1.3 million. It was so cheap. So even though it was a bad area, it was still so cheap. And I was like, it's like, you know, you have to buy this deal. And it was gone in like a day. So if you don't have cash sitting there to say, I'm gonna buy it cash and sign it under contract and show them that you have cash in the bank, that's it. Some lucky person got that deal. So it needed a lot of work, right? It still needed probably like, you know, I would say probably at least $1 million in it. But by the time it was done, it would have been worth $4 million. So you're in for $2.3 million. When you're done, it's worth $4 million. Either you do a cash out refi, or you sell it and just just make $1.7 million profit. So either way, it's a win.
Yeah, I mean, I would choose that strategy if I invest by myself, but those are the investors who wants to get cash flow all the time. That's why I'm just afraid of refinance, you know, because if I do refinance, all the cash flow is gonna squeeze, and then there's just little amount cash is gonna distribute to everybody.
So that's not accurate, right? That's not accurate, 100%. So let me add why. If you pay cash for a deal, most properties right now are selling for 5 cap. If you get lucky, you'll get a 6 cap. So that means 6% capitalization rate on $3 million. You're looking at like $180,000. Right, 3 million at 6 cap, 180,000 divided by 12. That's $15,000 a month. So if you're able to find a value add deal that you can force appreciation to an 8 cap and then refinance and get a loan at 4.5% or lower, you're going to be generating a cash on cash return between 10 to 12%. So now you're earning 12%, let's just say 10% on $3 million. You're now bringing $25,000 a month, not 15. So if you're looking, it depends how much cash they're looking to make. Because if they're like, look, just give me whatever, and I don't want to worry about nothing else. That's fine. But normally with my investors, we're trying to make the most money possible. So normally the first year to 2 years, we don't take any money out of it. We're fixing the property, fixing it up, making it better and better. And that's how we make so much money, is because we'll buy a property for, this properties right now we're buying them for 1.65 million. We're investing about 500, so we're in for about 2.15 million. It's going to take us probably a year to do all of the renovations. But by the time we're done with all the renovations, the cash flow model that we're showing is roughly about a 12% return for the investors annually, which is
it's good actually.
It's very, very good. So right now, it's amazing right now, and that doesn't count paying down the loan. That doesn't count the property value going up. None of that. So, as you can see, what I'm saying is that there is a strategy that is optimal, right? And I try to go for that strategy. Now, again, I have some investors that say, I don't care. I just want this much money a month. Now, if they want that money a month, a certain amount, some of these investors, I have them as debt partners. Meaning, I'm paying them every month, but I'm paying them as a loan. They have the mortgage on the property, and I'm giving them a mortgage payment every month. Now, the property can make no money. Doesn't matter. I'm paying them a mortgage because I'm borrowing the money from them. I am the owner of the property. They're basically the bank. That's an option as well. And then as we, do more, we refinance and so on, I'm still paying them the payment, and we use their money as on the debt side, but they don't get any of the upside because, they wanted a fixed payment. So there's people that want one thing, there's people that want another thing, and you can basically give people anything they want as long as you figure out what do they want and is it reasonable. So,
understanding the masters are the key part, and offering them the what they want, just another strategy. I have to find out what they exactly want. All right. Thank you, Basta. I really appreciate, and I really thank you for your help. Okay, I'm gonna DM you the about thing.
yes.
Maybe we can do a phone call.
And I have another friend actually that is trying to buy. He's from England, and he owns a bunch of small hotels in England in the water. And he's working on buying a hotel on Clearwater Beach, a small one. So, he's thinking about getting people to raise money. He wants to put in about $1 million. He wants to raise more money, get together roughly like his million with more money, maybe $4 million, and buy a larger hotel, and he'll manage it.
Oh, he has experience in managing hotels, right?
He has 3 hotels in England on the water. So he's like, all right, I don't want to be in England anymore. I don't like how constricted it is and all. I don't like it there. I like Florida. I want to live here, and I want to start opening hotels here as well. So he wants to buy them on Clearwater Beach. So
okay,
So
I have a friend company, and he has also a hotel in Cocoa Beach, and he actually has couple hotels, and it's like average hotels, Daisy hotels.
yeah.
So I mean, he has lots of hotel experience. He's like 70 years old, and he is in hotel industry like more than maybe 40, 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also willing to do hotel investments together, you know. I mean, if it goes to hotel, there's one more person who wants to also invest.
So we're looking at a bunch of hotels now in Clearwater Beach, and all these different properties available. There's an 8-unit coming for sale. My realtor tells me about properties before they come up, and there's an 8-unit coming up for sale on the beach. It's an apartment building, but you can have it as an Airbnb as well, so you can have it for 3-night stays. So it has a nice mix there. They're asking, I think, $1.5 million, and it's 8 units, which is a decent price per door because, you know, that area price per door is pretty high. But
how we're gonna manage that? Like, do I need to come to Tampa and manage the Airbnb, or
no,
your
so
property management company can handle it?
So my property management company handles the Airbnbs and long-term rentals. My construction company and property management handles all the maintenance. And my accounting firm handles all the accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, everything else. So basically, what people use me for is that if you're an investor and you do a lot of stuff hands-on, and you're like, Basket, I just want you to handle my finances, so my taxes and bookkeeping and everything else looks good, so I can continue getting more loans, we can just do that. Now, there's some people that are on the other end. They said, look, here's my money, do everything, make me money, and just give it to me and show me what I own. Show me, like, what do I owe? And then we're like, look, this is the property on Property Appraiser. Here is in the Pinellas County. This isn't, the state of Florida says, look, you're the owner of this company, and here's your profits from everything you made. Here's the bank accounts and all the bank statements that the money went in and out and so on. So we go from one end to the other end, where people want help to build their company, and then some people just want, you know what, just do everything for me, just send me the profits. So there's both ends. So, but yes, and also what he would do is if we open up a hotel where it's like nightly stays, and there's a front end check-in and so on, he would handle that. Because there's another hotel we're looking at that's in Clearwater, but it's not on the water, and it was actually a pretty good hotel. They're asking $6 million for it. It's 120 rooms, and he said it's a great deal. The thing is, no bank is willing to finance a big hotel today. Because of COVID, all the banks said, nah, we're not interested right now. We have too many hotels. So this deal...
Actually, I just talked with my hotel friend, hotel owner friend, and he told me last 2 months, this hotel is full. Just last 2 months. And,
no. I'm not questioning, like, my Airbnb's super busy. Florida, we're super busy. What I'm saying is that the banks do not want to finance any more hotels. They don't want to give any more loans for hotels because they already have so many loans that they're like, look, we already have so many loans that are having problems. We don't want any more on our books. Because remember, the bank does not see the property as an asset. They see it as a liability. They see you as a liability, and they see the debt as their asset. So they're like, wait, this asset, this debt on these properties are going bad. I don't want any more. So, but the point is this, $6 million for that deal, especially if we buy it cash, we can fix it up over the next year or two, can make money along the way, and then when the banks come back, we can get it reappraised for like 8 to 10 million, do a cash out on that deal, and now we got another $6 million and buy another hotel. Because what me and him were talking about, his name is Johnny. What me and Johnny were talking about was eventually owning 5 to 10 hotels in the Tampa Bay market and having everything under one management group, so we can have an efficiency of scale. Because I'm all about trying to have this big scale and build efficiency so we can reduce our costs.
And by the way, what do you think about? I mean, you said he has hotels in England, but
Yeah.
My friend, he is doing the hotel business in Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, and all over the place for the last 40, 50 years. And isn't someone would be better for like who knows the Florida market, who knows the US market better?
So your friend is how old? 70 years old, right?
He's 75 years old. I mean, he's
So-
not asking I'm gonna manage it, but I'm just thinking like if who has the more experience and maybe.
So you're correct. He has experience, and his experience is going to be helpful. But if you want someone to actively manage it, right? If he's an active manager where the guy's going to show up every day to make sure it's run right, your friend at 75 is not going to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the guy that says, hey, I'm from England and now I'm going to live here and I want to eventually own 10 hotels down here, he will, at least in the beginning while it's getting off the ground, do that. I myself, why I like everything in Tampa is because I show up when these projects are getting remodeled, I show up almost every day and I make sure everything is going right. Because when you're putting out that much money, you don't want to lose, because one mistake's $50,000, You want to make sure that it's on point. And even though I get all professionals, people still, when they're working, they're not always like seeing it from an outside view. So I kind of told my guy, like one of my guys was moving a storage building. And I told him, I was like, if you plant that tree in there right now, you're not going to be able to move that storage building. There's not enough room because you're going to need extra space to turn the building before you drop it. And he's like, I didn't think of that. But you need a person to make sure that, because otherwise they would have to unplant the tree, then move the building, then plant the tree again, and now you cost time. And it's not even though I would have gotten them to do it for free, it cost me more time, and now that's money because the debt coverage is a lot, So
We are having the same problem, actually, like similar problems in small projects. We are doing like fixing up in Jacksonville, and I'm going every day and staying with the people.
yes. So basically, when you're running projects, the more hands-on you are, you can catch more mistakes and you can make sure that you're more profitable.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's what it's.
I don't want to take your time too long, and it's not for everybody. And,
It's a little bit too high up for some people. So it's all good because that's what it's about. We want everybody to learn and understand this is where we're starting, but the potential is so high. So we'll keep in touch.
I'm gonna DM you about that.
Sounds
Thank
great.
you. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day. Good night.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's late. What time is it? 10:40, and I got to get up tomorrow because I'm going to the Bitcoin conference tomorrow. And then when I get back, I'm going to Belize with Robert Kiyosaki and all of them. So it's great seeing everybody. I'll be back probably live in about 3 weeks. For all the people that need to learn more and want to get their game to the next level, the link in my bio on IG take you to the course for Foundations of Personal Finance, or on YouTube. In the comment section, you're going to see the link to my course. Anyone that needs help with taxes, insurance, mortgages, or want to invest in real estate, feel free to DM me. I can provide you more information. Me and my team will be happy to help you and get you to the next level. Good luck, God bless, and I'll see you guys next time.